There comes a quiet moment in every life when you look around and realize that the people who once understood your silence no longer recognize your thoughts, that the conversations which once filled your heart now leave your spirit empty, and that the roads you once walked together have slowly divided without anyone announcing the separation. And it is in that moment that most men commit a tragic mistake, because instead of accepting that change is the oldest law governing this universe, they cling to what has already completed its purpose, allowing disappointment to become bitterness, bitterness to become resentment, and resentment to become an invisible prison they carry long after the people themselves have disappeared, forgetting that no chain is stronger than the one forged by an unwilling mind. Observe nature carefully, and you will discover that nothing worthy of admiration struggles against its own season, because spring never mourns the departure of winter. Autumn does not resent the fading of summer, and the ancient oak does not curse the leaves that eventually abandon its branches. For every departure serves the quiet wisdom of renewal. Yet man believes himself exempt from this law, expecting friendships, environments, and familiar faces to remain untouched by time, even while he himself is changing. Every single day, the greatest misunderstanding is believing that every person who enters your life has been sent to accompany you until your final breath, when in truth many arrive only to teach you a lesson that your future self could never have learned alone. And once that lesson has fulfilled its purpose, life gently begins to separate your paths, not as punishment, but as preparation for the next stage of your becoming. Do not accuse them for no longer walking beside you, and do not accuse yourself for feeling the distance, because rivers separate naturally when the land beneath them changes, and no amount of force can persuade two streams flowing toward different oceans to remain forever joined. Part 2. Amor Fati. Love your fate. There exists a discipline greater than patience, greater even than endurance, and it is what we Romans call amor fati, the love of one's fate. This does not mean tolerating suffering with clenched teeth or pretending pain is pleasant, but reaching a point where you no longer wish your life had unfolded differently, because every disappointment, every humiliation, every delay has become another stone from which your character has been built. Most people survive hardship while secretly hoping it had never happened, but the wise man eventually reaches a place where he says, I would not erase this chapter, because without it I would still be the weaker version of myself. This is not surrender to destiny, but partnership with it, because fate delivers the circumstances while your judgment determines whether those circumstances become chains around your spirit or wings beneath it. When you stop asking why life has become difficult and instead begin asking what this difficulty has come to teach you, the entire meaning of suffering changes before your eyes. Part 3. What stands in the way becomes the way. I once wrote these words to remind myself during the darkest moments of my reign. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. These were not beautiful words crafted merely for admiration. They were weapons forged for survival, because every obstacle contains the very material required for your next transformation. The mountain before you strengthens your legs. The resistance against your mind sharpens your judgment, and the insults of others teach you mastery over your own emotions more effectively than endless praise ever could. The obstacle does not delay your journey. It becomes your journey, because without resistance there can be no discipline. Without uncertainty there can be no courage. And without hardship there can be no greatness worthy of remembrance. Those who curse their obstacles unknowingly curse the very workshops where their strongest qualities are waiting to be created. Part 4. Why good luck can be more dangerous than bad luck. Do not envy the man whose life unfolds exactly as planned, because uninterrupted success often whispers dangerous lies into the human heart, convincing him that he no longer needs vigilance, humility, or discipline. Comfort slowly persuades a man to neglect his principles, long before disaster ever arrives. And by the time adversity finally appears, he discovers that his strength quietly disappeared during years of ease. Bad luck, however, refuses to flatter you. It exposes every weakness you have ignored, every illusion you have protected, and every dependency you have mistaken for confidence. Though its lessons arrive without kindness, they arrive with perfect honesty. The storm reveals whether the ship was truly built well, just as misfortune reveals whether your philosophy has become part of your character, or remained nothing more than elegant words repeated during peaceful days. Part 5. Welcome the Forge. Therefore, when fortune appears to abandon you, resist the temptation to believe that life has turned against you, because iron does not become a sword while resting upon velvet, nor does marble become a masterpiece without enduring countless strikes from the sculptor's hammer. You, too, are being shaped, though the process rarely feels gentle while it is happening. Welcome the unexpected delay that teaches patience, the rejection that destroys your vanity, the failure that replaces arrogance with wisdom, and the uncertainty that forces you to discover strength that comfort never required. Every event that appears to stand against you is quietly asking whether you will remain the person you have always been or become someone worthy of everything you seek. The universe is not withholding your destiny. It is preparing your character to carry it without being destroyed by it. Conclusion, the final lesson. So the next time bad luck knocks upon your door, do not greet it as an executioner, but as an uncompromising teacher whose methods are severe only because its purpose is noble. Refuse to waste your energy mourning the path that vanished behind you, for the path before you is being carved by every obstacle that now seems determined to block your progress. Remember always that fate has never promised you comfort, yet it has offered something infinitely greater, the opportunity to become unconquerable. Love your fate, not because every moment will be pleasant, but because every moment, whether welcomed or resisted, contains the raw material from which wisdom, courage, justice, and self-mastery are forged. When you finally understand this truth, you will cease asking life for better luck, because you will have become the kind of person who can transform every piece of bad luck into the greatest advantage of all.